Okay, I have a lot to say about film in the last decade, so buckle down and listen up. This is the Film Dizzy, the last 10 years in cinema history, from The Phantom Menace to Avatar. The digital revolution carried DVDs to Hollywood's primary income source. Lord of the Rings proved to also be Lord of the Real. Effects-laden Matrix films, Star Wars prequels, and the rise of comic book adaptations brought new life to the studio system. Conglomerates and used corporations bought out most of the studios and showed no mercy in releasing whatever crap looked like a tentpole feature, or better yet, a marketable franchise. This strategy created long arms so that the studios could reach way over to the Middle East and to the world banks for financing. And at the same time, private billionaires started up film companies like Walden, 2929, and Participant Productions, started by the founder of eBay. It's been a decade of major change for Hollywood. Producer Judd Apatow ruled comedy, while comic book adaptations ruled blockbuster summers. Saw created a long-run horror series, and a faith-based market rose from the grave with Passion of the Christ, reminding Hollywood that Christians do go to movies. I would argue that independent films suffered in this last decade, while some others say that it made a staggering impact on the Academy Award stage. It's true, festivals grew and digital flooded the market with newer, cheaper means of productions. Still, I think the 90s saw a revival that seemed to me to be replaced with studio hands putting on gloves that looked independent, but were not. Money trails from the majors did give indie directors and writers new opportunities in the marketplace, but I see no reason to parade over the successes of Fox Searchlight, Focus, Paramount Vantage, Warner Independent, and Miramax Films. Most of those buyers are dead. And pretty soon they'll all be gone, especially if they continue to flirt with pouring money into a market that must learn to fend for itself. Everybody involved will die. Interesting things will come from Paramount in the next 2 years, following the strategy they used for the $11,000 budget success of Paranormal Activity. A lot of directors and writers will get hired up and make these low-budget films that could be remade into a bigger budget, or could just be released as they are. But I would imagine that the world will lose interest again and the studios will move on to something else soon after. The decade did bring us some great films, and I suppose history will float the best of those to the top. But it's too overwhelming for me to think about and post on those now. But I'll get to it later. DVD and Blu-ray sales are down at the end of the decade and continue to fall, and so this digital age is suddenly changing with the Web 3.0 world to come, and we shall see in the next decade a major change in the material being offered to us from the most influential city in the world. Variety magazine predicts a flux towards female attendance, driving more series such as Twilight and Sex and the City. I think, though, for the next few summers we will continue to see the childhood of 20 and 30-somethings molested with further market films like G.I. Joe, Transformers, Indiana Jones, basically anything that can get a rise out of Comic-Con. I would guess that Marvel's recent acquisition by Disney will make future films more questionable with true blue fans, and sooner or later they'll run out of material or slide to the next generation of Saturday morning fare. Let's just hope the box office won't be too insulting to filmgoers. Toy companies in Hollywood are working close together these days, and it's paying off for the moneylenders. I also have just one word to comment on an entire phenomenon of film in the last decade. Pixar. I think that's really all I have to say about that. And finally, the end of the decade brings us new developed 3D systems, which I would suspect will continue to pull people out of the front of their HD TVs and into the local theater. The success of Avatar has brought us to the threshold of tomorrow, and that was the last 10 years in cinema history.